Hey, folks, we're back at it again. It's Lindsey Hudson with SPS back in the building with my guys on the SPS Edge Show. Got the crew all on deck. I got Terry McCoy Jr., been able-bodied co-host for some time now. I got John and Patrick Rutherford holding us down. And don't worry, Orlando Watkins is close by. In case anything go wrong, he pops in and helps us out. Gentlemen, what started out like a, quote-unquote normal sports day, boy, it just picked up. And what I want to say to you guys is that I added a few things, and I think there's some things we can talk about. I'm going to do Orlando during the break to make sure we can get the controls moved over the right way. But for now, I'll let you guys get set. We got a few things that I wanted to put out there. I started out just kind of being cool, but I guess we could start with the whole idea of Tom Izzo being denied by President Stanley. There was a buzz over the last probably 3 or 4 hours of Tom Izzo stepping in as the interim athletic director for Michigan State University. As you guys know, there's going to be a nationwide search taking place. And I have to be honest, fellas, I didn't even know that Tom was out there in the running. He had some board of trustees behind him. With the board of trustees, there's always a political divide. And President Stanley said no bet. And so I don't know. Terry said he wanted to get a little second at bat action. Maybe the leadoff can be Patrick again. Pat, you can lead us off with this. When you hear about President Stanley stepping in, my question is, do you think that there's a power struggle, and this is President Stanley's time to say, I'm the most powerful person in Michigan State and not Tom Izzo?
Say that again. Like, do I think that it's more?
Yeah. Do
I think that is it my opinion that he needs to assert himself as the guy?
Well, this was his chance. This was his chance to step in and say no. Because when have we heard basically anyone say no to Tom Izzo? Because even though he's the head coach, the basketball coach, he has really been that guy. With all due respect to President Simon, I remember they were trying to get the players out of the kids out of the stadium during a thunderstorm. Right. And despite her pleas, she couldn't do it. John, I don't know if you remember that. Terry, I don't know if you remember that too. They had to call Iz. Iz had to get on the mic and tell the kids to leave. So I say that to say, was this an opportunity for the president to exert himself on something, or was it just the right call to make no matter what? Like, no, we don't need an interim, so on and so forth. Is not what you think, and so on.
Yeah, that's really where I was leaning at. I really don't think that that's a job for him personally.
Mm-hmm.
And also, let's also look at the writing on the wall here. Shouldn't you be worrying about winning a national championship, bro? Shouldn't you be worrying about recruiting in the landscape of in the name and likeness in the landscape of basketball chain? Like, don't you have enough on your plate? You ain't Nick Saban, where you just been winning 7 out of the last 12. Like, things to focus on. What you worried about being athletic director for?
What you say? You're not dynasty status?
No,
Terry?
Like, come on, bro. Like, you got things to worry about other than the rest of the team sports at Michigan State.
Yeah,
like, you need to worry about your sport.
What I mentioned offline, you guys, you remember, it was like, I always had this idea that Tom Izzo's post role would be being an athletic director at Michigan State. And my thought is that, as Aaron Mays makes a comment, is that he's trying to just get his resume padded so when that opportunity comes to happen. Aaron Mays, our good brother, said the board of trustees are going to mess this up. Izzo should not be considered. It's Perlis versus DiBaggio all over again. Haller should be interim until they pick a permanent AD. Yeah, that sounds like something that can work, man. But the politics are always at play. I appreciate that, Aaron. That's a good call from the historical standpoint. But Terry, just when you hear this, man, I'm sending you the breaking news. Like, hey, what's going on? We got Kendra saying, "What's up, fellas?" Hey, Kendra, we appreciate you checking in with us. What do you think, Terry, when you hear about this breaking news that President Stanley pretty much stopped the opportunity for Tom Izzo to be the next AD or interim AD of the end?
I don't think it was a power move, but I think that Izzo has more on his plate. I agree with Patrick. It'd be different if he was winning a lot or if he was in a sense of comfort. I think this is a time Izzo should apply more pressure and get back to those winning seasons. So I think this is a lot on his plate. being the AD. Although he may not have a lot to worry about, he may have a ton of assistants that help him out, but still, that's just a lot on your plate right now while you're trying to bring MSU basketball and get another chip to the back to the Breslin Center. So I just think that's a lot on his plate. I do agree with Aaron, though. I do think Haller should be the interim AD right now, just to hold a space, a familiar face in the with the university. And I think he should, get hired if they end up liking him in the interim position. We've seen coaches that, Nate McMillan, they didn't really think that he would end up being hired in, but with the Hawks. So we've seen a ton of interns, people who come in just to fill a spot, end up, they love them and then they give them a full-time spot. So I think that's what will happen, but I don't think Izzo should pursue that right now. I think he should apply more pressure to the basketball season coming up.
Yeah, I like that. John, this is always a good one for you because of your historical reference point, and your familiarity with the program. Is it the possibility that Tom has just been held in such high regard for so long that if they say, hey, Tom, we want to send you to the moon with Sparta, he'd be like, well, if it's safe, I'll go. And I'm not, trying to belittle the idea, but I'm just saying that for him to just say, hey, sure, no problem. I mean, what do you think was the real impetus behind all this? And to the same point, when I asked Patrick what he thought, is this Stanley trying to kind of exert his authority to say, the buck stops here at Michigan State. I am the president.
Well, first of all, Michigan State has had controversy between the president, the regents, and the athletic department for 70 years. Okay, they've always had conflict, and from what I'm getting, from what I heard, since I got this text from you, I did a little work.
Man, you be working, John.
And the regents are not happy with the president because they have not been included. She hired a firm to find their next athletic director. Okay, and the guy that runs the firm is the former athletic director he was at Connecticut, North Carolina State, and then ended up at the University of Washington and has had this company for quite a few years now. So they hired them to do the research, and the regents feel slighted. And then I also heard that there's some people within the regents that say, you haven't talked to Tom Izzo enough. You haven't talked to Mel Tucker enough. So here we have three entities: the executive branch, the legislature, and the coaches that are not in a harmonious lane. Okay, they're not working together, and this is not good because although I do not believe that Tom Izzo should ever be athletic director of Michigan State, he's not
or in the future, huh?
Yeah, he's not qualified. Okay, for 2021, but man, to not pick up the phone and say, hey, coach, we're going to bring this guy in and we're going to interview him. We want you to be a part of this. Hey, Coach Tucker, we want you to be a part of this. Now, there was a time when my friend Joe Ferguson, he ran that thing with the iron fist, and sometimes he argued with people going back to the beginning of his term. But turmoil goes back to Biggie Munn being the athletic director and Duffy Doherty being the football coach in the 50s. Okay, there has always been problems. I've been privy to some great stories over the years at Michigan State, but they've always survived. It seemed to be the greatest period, in my opinion, was the Mark Hollis era. They lost one hell of a guy when he left. Now, there's a couple guys, local guys that you know of that are in consideration, but it looks like they're being zoomed over. Mm-hmm. Now, the last hire that this corporation made was at Nebraska, and they brought in a former football player, Trev Alberts, and named him the athletic director about a month ago or 2 months ago or whatever, how long it was. This is the same group that's doing the work for Michigan State. But for God's sake, don't make a decision on who's going to be AD and not talk to Tom Izzo, not talk to Mel Tucker, and not talk to the Board of Regents. You know what I mean? How hard is it to sit down and have a select group that everybody can agree on that has the involvement in this process?
Yeah.
And I guess this is the problem, is that there's too many regents that feel they've been left out of the decision. So the logistics of how they went about forming a group that would make this decision for the best interest of Michigan State University does not seem to have happened. And it's a shame, and it's too bad, because you have a guy that's going to be, when he's done, he's going to have more Big Ten wins in basketball than anybody in the conference history. And you got an electric football coach right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in a conference that's great. Man, come on, man. Get it together.
Yeah.
Check the egos at the door and work for the place that's paying you. Michigan State University, not yourself.
Right.
You know what? You mentioned some names. You mentioned one when you talk about former trustee Joe Ferguson, who ruled with an iron fist, no doubt, was very vocal about what he wanted and what he expected. And then also, I think somebody who's going to be underappreciated right now, who may have to get back to their former job, is former board secretary and former athletic director Bill Beekman, because he was the type of person that stood there and kept the trains running on time. He was working it behind the scenes. And I think what we're seeing right now, guys, is an example of why someone like Bill Beekman, if not himself, needs to be back there. What you got, John?
Well, you bring up a great point, Lindsey. He is supposed to stay in that job until they find someone and then move to the president's office. What the hell did they need an interim for? If in fact he was going to stay and he's in the athletic director's job until they find one, then he's sliding over to the president. That's the way this thing was set up. Why do you even need an interim? He's the interim. He's watching the office until someone's named. Why would there have to be an interim? He's staying at the university. He's moving from the athletic department into the president's office, working for the president. He came from another department to go to the athletic department. I don't understand why this interim thing with Tom Izzo even came up.
But John, and I appreciate Aaron saying this is Aaron. Yes, they lost a lot in Hollis. The reason why Aaron is saying this is Aaron, because I guess we reached a level of popularity, guys. What you guys don't know, we've been getting hit by some trolls over the last 10 minutes. I'm talking about 6 or 7 different YouTube accounts saying stop deleting us, free speech, and all these other random things. They ask about where the ladies at in Portland tonight. So we didn't hit a level of popularity, man, where they come in with crazy stuff. But they did ask who was the guy on the phone. So somebody was checking for you, Patrick. So I don't know what that's all about. But Aaron, I appreciate yeah, man. Like, what? Aaron, I appreciate what you're saying. And John, you're right, man. They're talking about your silence and free speech, man. Get out of here, dude. Get up out of here. Ain't no free speech on this platform, baby. So with that being said, here's the thing, man. I think it shows to you what I was saying, John, how missed someone like he is. And I just think that it's going to say a lot, man. But it's unfortunate that the dirty laundry is being aired out there. And you're right, Aaron. Hollis was a visionary in the things that he was doing. And they also had a great, great relationship with, Tom Izzo. So they were able to put those
and
things.
Mark Antonio.
Yeah. And I'm sure with Tucker. Well, we'll keep an eye on this. So let me ask you guys quickly before we move for subject. What's your prediction on how this is going to play out? Because, again, I think it was an opportunity for people to curry favor with Tom Izzo. If he got in as an interim, however brief, then they could be like, hey, I was the one that voted for you to do that. And, that's politics. You shaking your head, Terry?
I hope, I honestly, if Izzo were to do this, I hope he does it down the line. I think now is a perfect opportunity to, really, because Michigan's made a stride with Juwan Howard. I think this is the year MSU needs to really answer the call and really show that they're back in the Big Ten and that they're not drifting down the path of rebuilding with the new coach and kind of the way Beeline was on his way out. I think Izzo needs that bounce back year. I just don't think he needs to be worrying about front office things. I think he rather needs to worry about reuniting that relationship with the front office and himself in his sport.
Yeah,
I totally agree. That's
yeah.
a great point there. That's a
You
great way
wonder
to
if
put it
this
there.
is just ego. You know, a trustee calls him, a couple trustees called, and they pumped him up, and Izzo not being able to read the tea leaves to know what the potential fallout may be, you know, because, you know, he's so locked into what he's into, and he's saying, hey, it won't be a problem. But we'll keep an eye on this. I appreciate you guys, and you, especially John, doing so much work in such short order, man. Man, what happened if we gave you 24 hours to get some information, man? So with that, guys, I want to go to another subject, and I debated discussing this, but again, I'm saying, hey, the benefit of having a platform is you can. It's former Tiger and current Tiger analyst Jack Morris. He received an immediate suspension after some comments, and I wasn't able to pull the comments up, but, you know, if anyone's kind of around Detroit, you know that he made what many would say was some disparaging comments referring. And you guys got to help me. I forget this player's name. Can you guys state?
Shohei Ohtani.
Thank you, Terry, for being on top of that. You know, he was up at bat, for those who don't know, and there was another individual, I believe, of Asian descent involved in the play, and they deferred to him and said, "What should you do?" And he made this. I'm not even going to repeat, but it was clearly a reference to his Asian descent, and it was a mockery of that. So the mistake I made was going on, like the Detroit News, for example, or something like that, and looking at the comments, which always, in many cases, end up being extremely conservative with a racist tone. And like I said, I didn't necessarily want to acknowledge that, guys, but here's what I got from this. What I took from this to kind of silence someone, if you could, who was talking crazy to try to say, hey, what's the big deal, is that the key word behind this is professional. This is a professional event. You are professionals. And with professionals, there is a standard. GMC, for example, with their line of vehicles, they say we're professional grade. That means there's no gray area. It's understood what the standard is. And you cannot tell me that there's a place in sports commentating where those type of statements can be made and it's accepted. And I hate the fact that we even got to discuss it. But I said it's news, and here's a great chance having a platform. So I'm not going to assume that everyone's locked in step with what I'm thinking, but I thought about the personalities and the people I know on this platform and just the respect that they have. And, I mean, dude, what was my man? Did he have a couple drinks before the game or something? Did he have a couple shots in the middle?
That's what I was thinking. That's the only excuse I could give him. But
even if he did, Patrick, they say alcohol or anything only exacerbates your personality. So they brought up the fact that, and I love that coy look you have on your face, John. I can't wait till we get around to you and get your feedback on it too. Ain't no telling what information you got within that time on this guy too. Well, you know, Terry, several years ago, he came under scrutiny because he made an inappropriate comment to a female intern when she wanted to ask him a question. Excuse me, it was a long time ago. He was still playing, and the question was, she wanted to ask him a question while he was in the locker room, and his response was he never answers questions when he's naked unless he's on top of the girl or the girl's on top of him. You know, like, yeah. Patrick was like, well, yeah. So that was even then. So I can't help it. I want to go to John really quick. And John, you know, tell me what your thought of this. And I don't have a historical reference point for Jack Morris, you know, but just give me your thoughts on what you heard and what other tidbits you may just know. And Terry, I'm sorry for jumping out of turn, but I'm just curious to know what John.
Jack Morris has a reputation of not being a very nice person. Okay, very opinionated, very self-centered, and it comes out when you listen to him broadcast the game. And what exactly happened is Ohtani was coming to bat in a very crucial spot of the game, and the lead announcer asked Jack Morris, well, how would you pitch to him, Jack? And he sounded like he was Asian and said, very, very careful. So there's no place for this. You're done, Jack. Go back to your farm now. Yep. You're done. Okay. It just doesn't work that way. And people have to understand, you know, there's a lot of controversy now about wokeness. Okay. Well, you know what? It's about time. It's about time. You know, what we're trying to take this society to is another level. Okay. We're not diminishing anything that people have done, but how you got there and what you did, some things are wrong. And what Jack Morris said and the way he said it was wrong. And he I'm sorry. You know, he apologized in the 9th inning. This was in like the 6th inning. And he apologized in the 9th. But it's too late. I mean, I want to tell you something. When it comes time to this guy, Ohtani, I've been watching the last 3 days. I told Patrick last night, I said, man, what an athlete.
Yeah.
You see this guy hit a ground ball, a routine ground ball to the second baseman, and he damn near beats it out at first base. He's big, and he can run, and he can hit, and he can throw. He can do it all. He's going to be the MVP. But this does not, because he comes from Japan, does not allow Jack Morris to act like this. He made a mistake. There's no doubt about it. But you know what? It can't be tolerated. No. And people have to stand. You have to. Yes, you can say what you want in this country. It's free speech. Okay, and you may as a person not like what the other person says, but you know what? There's free speech, but there's consequences to go along with what you say. And how you say it and how you act. And you have to be responsible for the circumstances that you put yourself in. And Jack Morris was wrong, and there's no place for what he did anywhere. Not just on baseball games, anywhere. Yeah,
John, I thoroughly appreciate that. And as I get ready to go to you, Terry, I'm not surprised at your comments. I just wanted to hear your passion, how you were going to say it, because when I thought about posting this, I thought about the people on this panel, you know, and although we celebrate our disagreements, I just said, man, I know these guys, and my squad don't really roll like that. And it wasn't going to be like, where are people at on this? And one thing I want to add to this too, Terry, is that you see people defending what he was doing, because I think what it is, guys, is that people want to defend it because they want to be able to roll at a lower standard. They don't want to be forced to have to reach a higher standard. I tell you what, whoever these people are, show up at your job Monday morning and the new CEO is of Asian descent and you walk in saying that to their face. I bet you won't, because that's telling me you know how to act, when to act. But when they see these gray areas and they can push it, one person even went as far as to say, oh, I thought he was mimicking Elmer Fudd, you know, and it was like, no, we're not trying to hear it. But I just thought that was something, Terry, as you gather these comments, what John said, you know, what Patrick is alluding to as well. What do you think?
I listened to it live, and it was very disrespectful.
Oh, you heard it live?
I heard the recap. So I watched the game. I missed that part. I made sure to go back and listen to it, and get a sense of context of what was going on.
Good for you.
And like what John was saying, like that's exactly what happened. They asked him how he pitched to him, and he said very, very careful, you know, with the Asian accent. That's very disrespectful. I think, you know, going into it in this day and age, we're at a standpoint in our society where we're trying to make strides to become, you know, politically correct. We're in strides where we want to do things the right way. And a lot of that starts with like socially, economically, you know, different ways. We want to do things the right way. And so whenever a guy like Jack Morris gets away with like this for so long, and he does it today, I think today's society, we're going to hold him accountable for that. And in his position, he's somebody that is, you know, on Fox Sports. You know, you're a professional. You should be held at the highest standard because you're on TV, you're impacting, and you have all these people listening to you. So yeah, we're gonna correct you, and yeah, you're gonna get fired because one, Detroit Tigers and Fox Sports deemed that it was unacceptable, and two, the fans are gonna realize that too, and then they realize that hey, Detroit's not taking responsibility for that. We're not gonna be fans of them. They like Detroit's realized that we got to get this guy out of town. He's not good for TV, And I like how they took the stance to say, no, suspending him for a few games isn't enough. He needs to get out of here indefinitely. So I think with that being said, though, I think he did try to say it, trying to be funny, but that doesn't make it okay. I think that was an excuse I saw a lot. He was trying to make it, very humorous or trying to be funny. And it's like, that's not funny. For you to find that funny really shows who you are and what more of a stance we need to make in this country and trying to do things the right way. So I think they did a great job of getting him out of there. And I wouldn't be surprised if we hear more stories like this of people who have been comfortable in doing things their way and having that quote unquote freedom of speech. And like John said, there is a freedom of consequence. Just because you say something, that does not mean that your organization can let you, that does not mean they can't let you go because of your opinion. If they don't like it and you're saying something that's clearly offensive, they're going to get you out of there. Don't be mad because you said that.
John, I want to bring you back in really quick, and I got a question to pose as well. From a historical context, I think you said it best. The most senior amongst us use the most hip words. Say when you talk about wokeness, look at the corporations and how they're responding. The fact that they responded, they probably ran down there within those few innings and say, "What did you say?" And they had that handled, man. Think about. Let's even go back 2 years ago. Man, we'll still be talking about this before they finally come out with a statement. And now these corporations realize what's at risk, and I got to give them credit. People are trying to say, oh, Bally's is this and call them communists. But these corporations like, no, man, unacceptable, handle that right now. And I'm impressed with that because think about it. That happened in real time. Like the game, he said it in the what inning? The 6th inning he said it in?
Inning when it happened. It was earlier.
About the 9th inning there, he was reading the apology.
Well, someone slipped in the card,
Yeah. John, did you want to add any more to that?
Yeah, I did. Everybody wants to put in, and Terry used the term politically correct. And you know what? It's not about politically correct. We sometimes give things the wrong term. This is about respecting another person. This is about acknowledging the respect you have for other people that are around you. It's got nothing to do with politics. It's got to do with respecting somebody. If they look different than you, if they act different than you, if they talk different than you, it's still having an idea of respect towards that person and judging that person on the content that they offer.
Yeah.
And you know what? I go back to the first time that Tiger Woods won the Masters. The following year,
Fuzzy Zeller.
On the night before the Masters starts, they have a dinner, and the guy that won the Masters last year gets to pick the menu. And a guy gets on ESPN, Fuzzy Zoller, and he's with a couple guys that have been on the tour for years and are on the back end of their careers. And they say to the guy on ESPN, oh, what are we having? Watermelon and fried chicken for dinner tomorrow night?
That's crazy.
And everybody laughed. Well, you know what? That was really, everybody thinks it's a joke. But what do you think that made Tiger Woods feel like? Now he laughed it off. Tiger laughed it off. Okay? But he had to swallow that.
Yeah.
He had to swallow that. And what we're trying to do is get to a point where you don't look at someone and think watermelon and fried chicken. You don't think to somebody and think of their ethnic background. I like watching this guy play baseball because I like the way he plays baseball. Okay? But, that's what it's about. It's about respect for other people.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's what wokeness is about. Having respect for other people.
I appreciate Terry McCoy Sr. Stopping in and saying John's right. Treat people like you want to be treated. And we see where Terry gets his passion and
right.
commitment from. But I want to add two more things as we get ready to take a quick break. You mentioned Fuzzy Zeller, and I think we have a similar dynamic. The diminishing of the accomplishment. Fuzzy Zeller and Jack Morris both cut into these individuals of different ethnic backgrounds who are at the top of their game. It's almost like you hating on them. Fuzzy was hating, so that's hate. As you know, what do you call it? Shade, whatever you want to call it. Jack Morris is sitting there hating on this young man, so you find something to say, and it's just quite obvious. But again, I'm grateful that society is moving to a point, because when I was at the gym, man, and I saw it, I was like, this is some BS, man. Like, he need to be out of there. And to see that happen very soon after makes me know that we are in a society that won't accept nor tolerate that. This has been a great, great topic, and I'm glad we were able to bring this up and add that. We're going to take a quick break. Patrick, did you want to add any more to this as far as what was going on?
What's that, Lindsay?
I was asking Patrick if he wanted to add any more to this. I don't want to bypass you on this.
No, I'm sorry. I was sidetracked. Kawhi Leonard just signed for 4 years, $175 million.
Hey, man, I ain't sidetracked. You was doing some work. What you talking about? Whoa, say that again. What happened with Kawhi?
Kawhi Leonard just signed 4 years, $175.
That's interesting. That'll be a good segue once we come back after we talk about college football, NFL, and NFL QBs, and also we got Draymond and KD.
I'm sorry, 176.3.
Well, we're going to see what's going to happen with that. We're going to take a quick break, guys. I want to thank our sponsors, including Horatio Williams and Horatio Williams Foundation. He's been very instrumental in supporting our broadcast and what's going on, as well as Gilead Sciences. Got to shout out Dick's as well. Dick's Sporting Goods has been holding us down. And then our guy, Orlando Watkins, has been doing some great things with basketball, but also, too, on September 4th, Terry and I will be in Detroit at Harper Woods High School for the SPS showcase. Is going to have young men and young women ballers from Southeast Michigan at their best. And Terry, I appreciate you taking part in that and what's going on. But we got to shout out Team Michigan and basketball. That's going to be coming to Traverse City. Guys need to get out there. Here we go.
You know who it is, baby. And I'm here to tell you about the new youth basketball tournament in Michigan. Team Michigan Basketball has done the work. It's prime time. They are PTPers, baby. Get ready for a scary good basketball tournament Halloween weekend at the venue of all venues, Baby Grand Traverse Resort. I'm talking about a diaper dandy, baby. I mean awesome with a capital A. A basketball tournament that is designed with the entire family in mind. Escape to a 900-acre northern Michigan resort just outside of Traverse City. Enjoy 54 holes of championship golf, spa, indoor-outdoor tennis, indoor water playground, fitness center, private beach club, 4 restaurants, shopping, and now basketball. I can't wait, baby! It's the stay to play that will make your day! Halloween Weekend 2021. Check it out at www.boosketball.com. Register your team soon. This one is going to fill up quickly. A basketball tournament at a resort. That's a slam, bam, jam, baby!
Better get your basketball ready. I know I'll be there. I know Orlando will be there. We're looking forward to having a really good time, guys, going forward with that. Now that we're back, Patrick, I know that last night was like Christmas Eve for you, man, because you knew we were going to be talking about college football, which is your favorite. I mean, you're well-versed in many sports topics. I know, Terry, that gets you going, and John, that brings you back to your old high school days when you guys are getting it going, too. So I'll lead with you, Patrick. When we talk about the college football update, what comes to mind, and what do you feel is definitely newsworthy for us to get out there as it relates to college football?
There's so much to talk about. Obviously, we'll go with my passions first. We'll go with Michigan State cracking the top 15 and
2022.
I guess they're 15, so you would say they cracked the top 20 in recruiting classes for 2022. That's beyond awesome. That's
not done yet.
And he's not done yet. I'm so excited to see what Tucker has to offer here. Just what's been going on at Michigan State so far is such a complete change to what we've been experiencing these last few years when it comes to our talent level. And I'm really excited about that. outside of Michigan State football, the Big Ten, you got Ohio State just absolutely continuing their dominance in recruiting, their talent level when it comes to, I believe they have more 5 stars on their roster than any other
Big Ten team. Don't go
combined.
Yeah, but not more than Nicky.
No, I mean the Big Ten combined.
Yeah, they do.
I mean in the Big Ten.
They do.
They have more.
Hey, John, say don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
Talk about the original straw hat.
Ohio State has more 5 stars than all the rest of the Big Ten combined together.
Right.
Yeah,
let's stay with that. Aaron, your guy, your nemesis, and I say that jokingly. He says, "Why is everybody downplaying what Tucker's doing with the recruiting front?" You know?
Oh, he's doing awesome. I wouldn't downplay it. I think I would praise it, man. He's doing great. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Terry, let's get you in here. I know that you can tell us something about that team in Columbus. You know, first and foremost, that's the college football orbit. But tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I mean, Ohio State, I mean, we start off on a Thursday, so I'll be propped up September 2nd while they play Minnesota. So,
okay, what time does that game start? So we either have you on a split screen or something. I mean,
I think it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm already.
Hey, John, you see how he kind of put his request in right there? Like, hey, we play on the Thursday. You good, Terry, wherever you want to be, baby.
No, I mean, I was going to take it outside. So Big Ten, I'm excited. I think week 1 for me, I'm really excited for. I don't mean to think of it as the season so narrow-sided, but I'm really excited for week 1. I mean, we got Georgia and Clemson playing against each other. That's going to be a big game. We got some ranked Big Ten teams playing against each other, Wisconsin and Penn State, which I think has some major implications of who can contend with Ohio State if Wisconsin's legit coming back from last year and trying to win the Big Ten West after losing it to Northwestern last year. So, and and Miami and Alabama, which I think Alabama's probably gonna blow Miami out, but it's just something to get me watching, and that's what week 1's supposed to be, high key matchups, for everybody to go in there. So I'm really excited for it. I think this season we have a lot of questions, which I think to answer Aaron's question, I think Tucker is getting downplayed because I don't think they have faith in his second year. I think nationally, I think we all can agree that he's doing a lot of work, but that's because, we understand it and we can think of it and put in perspective what he's doing and at his second year, number 2. And I think a lot of guys are thinking well, are they competing with Ohio State? Are they going to be that's not the question right now. I mean, this is year 2. He's rebuilding. He's getting his guys in there. He's getting transfers in there. Let's think about getting MSU back up to competing like they were like last year. It wasn't much of a drop-off as we thought it was going to be. They were in games, but I think with getting talent in there and kind of mushing his what he wants and what he plans for Michigan State football to be, I think he'll start to get more attention for it. So expect for them to pretend like they knew Tucker was going to be up there in the next couple of years. So, but I'm really excited because there are a lot of questions that will be answered within the first 3 weeks. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I know you are. And to Aaron's follow-up point, I'm going to get to you, John. Aaron is saying that it's really not popping down in Southeast Michigan, Metro Detroit area. And I wonder what that is. I don't know if it's been Wolverine country for so long and that transition is happening. But just overall, when we talk about college football being back, you talk about your close friend, Nick Saban. And is it almost a given, that, they're going to make out that top 4 college playoff and, hoist the trophy again? I mean, it's almost like, Alabama's like the LeBron James of the NBA, meaning that you have the regular season, you have all these other wars, but LeBron is almost separate to the point where he can't even be included in the MVP discussion because he's just so good. What do you think, John?
Well, I mean, you've had Alabama, you've had Clemson, you've had Oklahoma, and then you've had Notre Dame coming a couple times, Georgia coming once, Michigan State coming once, but you've had that top echelon have controlled the college football playoff since it started.
Yeah.
And Terry brings up a great point. Georgia, Clemson. Clemson will not have Notre Dame this year. to win a big game in the ACC.
Right.
So Georgia has
Yep.
some SEC schools that they can beat where they can afford to lose that game. Clemson can't. You know, they
Well, they can't because there's 12 teams now.
no, it's not 12 teams. It's 4 teams.
That's the big game that's gonna be circled for them to get in there. Like, oh, they beat Georgia, so that's gonna be a
Right.
big key.
Yeah, if he loses, Terry, he's in trouble. Now,
So I got a quick question, John, for question of clarity. So when that game is scheduled, was that by happenstance? So that was scheduled with having those kind of implications to be a big game, to be a big TV night, to be a big revenue night, to schedule a game like that for the potential implications?
yeah, you know, there's like 3 or 4 games opening week now that are considered like a preseason basketball tournament, like Hawaii or Madison Square Garden has one. The one in Atlantis, but their people own those games, and I think Jerry Jones owns one of them that's always played in Dallas, and I think there's one in Florida, and then there's another one I think in Charlotte, and that's just putting the big guys, the big boys on the stage, and like you say, get something big day for television and a big opening statement for college football. But those games are owned by individuals.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay, and they sell a package,
Mhm.
and it's been successful. Nicky always plays in one. That's why he's playing Miami.
Chick-fil-A kickoff.
Alabama he used to go to. I don't know, Terry. Do you know where that game is this year?
The Alabama Miami game, I believe it's the Chick-fil-A kickoff down there in the
Atlanta.
And Atlanta, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So yeah, and that's what's happening. Now, if we come to the Big Ten, another interesting game, I believe, is Iowa, Indiana.
Yeah, yep.
Is opening week. That's going to be a heck of a game. But I was doing some research this morning.
Of course you were, John. Of course you were.
And the player development director at Ohio State has been there for a while and is a well-respected coach, said this is the best freshman class that Ohio State's had.
Wow.
And that's saying a mouthful.
Yeah.
Because they've had some pretty good freshman classes. But I'm going to shift to Mel Tucker real quick.
Please do.
I'm going to tell you something. I've been reading some stuff, and I'm trying to read into what I read. I want to give you an example. Harold Joyner was one of the most highly recruited tailbacks coming out of high school his senior year in Birmingham, Alabama. And there was a big fight between Nick Saban and Auburn, and he went to Auburn, and it's never materialized for him there. So he transferred to Michigan State. Now I understand that in the scrimmages and in practices where guys have watched, that they're not only using him at tailback, but they're using him in different ways because he's 6'4", 220 pounds, and he can catch the football besides being a tailback. So what I'm hearing is this offense is doing some things to put players in a position to be successful.
There we go.
Now, if the offensive line, who has 8 guys that have had playing time and has brought an all Sun Belt Conference performer, who, by the way, is moving to left tackle, and a Curry's moving to right tackle, and a Curry's a pretty decent guy, only allowed 2 sacks last year. Good player. So what I'm saying is, you better watch out. You better watch out.
You better watch out.
You better watch out, because you know what? You've told them for the last month, boys, I mean, I can just see Tucker right now. Man, look at this publication, boys. Last place, Big Ten East. Look at this publication. Last place. I mean, if you ever wanted to rally the troops, he's got a scenario mountain, baby. The storm is forming in East Lansing. And watch out for the Mel Tucker Spartans, baby. They may catch some people. And I want to tell you something else I learned.
What you learned, John?
Northwestern lost 2 starters in the last 48 hours. Now, I feel bad for those kids. They're
Lost
done
them what? Lost them to injury?
They're done for the year injury.
What?
Oh, man.
Northwestern. That's
Yeah.
Michigan State's opener.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you, this coaching staff is doing some things. They got some people. This guy did an unbelievable job of getting rid of MAC football players and GLIAC football players and bringing in some football players that got a little bit of something behind them. And I'm just going to tell you something. Watch out. Now, I'm going to tell you another important thing and be my last point.
You fine. You fine.
In the last week, if you went to Las Vegas and you went to a sports book, the number was 4.5.
Yeah.
With the over and under on Michigan State wins. Okay? In the last 2 weeks, that number's gone to 5.5.
Wow.
So that tells me that the gamblers say, watch out for this guy, Mel Tucker.
Yeah.
Watch out.
They're
I'm
seeing
gonna
it.
tell you better take him serious. Their things are looking up, and I'm gonna tell you, just don't count him out yet.
Do you see them in the Big Ten championship?
Well, I don't. You know what? I mean, I hate to break Terry's heart, but you know, I have been witness to. Okay, several times when Ohio State has been the number 1 team in the country, and who got it? Michigan State Spartans.
I gotta explain.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead and explain, Terry.
I would go to say this, and I think my dad can, agree with this as well. Me and him personally have had problems with the way Urban Meyer will usually prep for games. I feel like Ryan Day's preparation for games shows why he hasn't lost a Big Ten game yet. So I'm very confident in Ryan Day. But me personally, I've been circling that MSU game and Ohio State game on purpose because back then when D'Antonio used to recruit guys out of Ohio State, out of the state of Ohio,
right,
those that didn't even get an interest letter from Ohio State, those that Ohio State passed on and got somebody from a different state,
right,
already knew they had a chip on their shoulder. You know what I mean? And MSU always has a chip on their shoulder. Like Michigan, I wasn't really too worried about, but I always knew Michigan State played with that edge, that Spartan pride that always gave Ohio State trouble, which I think Ryan Day noticed that while playing and while coaching under Meyer for those years. So I think Ryan Day does come with that edge, and he's always so hungry. I think Urban Meyer got too content to where teams like Purdue, Iowa blowing us out, and I'm just sitting on there like, really, dude? Like, we losing to them? You know what I mean? So I think I definitely circle that on purpose. And because Tucker's making all these moves, he's making me a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. I
don't think Michigan State's in the same class as Ohio State, but I think they're going to be better and do better than what people say they are. I want to tell you this, Terry. Patrick and I were guests of Mark D'Antonio the first time that Urban Meyer coached against Michigan State, and he won that game 17-16.
I remember that.
And Michigan State didn't even they had Maxwell. They were playing without a quarterback the whole year. But they gave him. But Urban Meyer comes up to Mark D'Antonio at the 50-yard line and goes and shakes his hands. And Patrick and I were on the sideline. And Urban grabs him by the shoulders and whispers something in his ear. And later that day, I said to Mark, I said, what was Urban telling you? And he said, you ain't going to believe it. I said, what'd he say? He said, hey, Mark, I'm just here to tell you, I'm going to make you and your buddy Tressel look like you never existed at Ohio State. I am going to do things that you guys never even believed were possible. So I think Urban Meyer had a plan against Michigan State. I just think that it pissed off Mark so much that Mark just had to.
Wow. Hey, they say when keeping it real goes wrong, huh?
That's right.
Look, guys, we're going to keep going. For the sake of time, because we did ask some more, I would like to compress our discussion about the NFL preseason along with those NFL quarterback watches. So let's try to weave those in, and then we still have time. We're going to talk about Draymond and KD sitting down. When Terry mentioned the chip on the shoulder, it made me think of that conversation. I hope you guys had a chance to check that out. And, of course, we'll wrap it up talking about those NBA players, and we'll do a countdown from 50. So staying with it, Patrick, NFL is up on us, man. The preseason update, quarterbacks are on your mind. Let's combine those two topics. What do you think about? What do you have for us?
It's super exciting because some years you get an influx of special players. There's more than a couple. There's more, you know what I mean? Some years there's more than others. And I think this year you have a lot of special guys that came in as quarterbacks that we've had multiple conversations about on this show. I thought Justin Fields looked phenomenal. I thought Trey Lance looked really good. I thought the one that surprised me the most with the quarterback play is Zach. What is it, Wilson?
Yeah.
Wilson,
He surprised me the most.
Surprised you. Why did he surprise you, Patrick?
He looked so comfortable to me. He looked extremely comfortable. He was really good in the pocket. His footwork was there. Basically, his fundamentals were there. And then I saw him make some really good throws. I didn't expect that from him. I didn't expect him to do so well and look so comfortable. That's one thing that you expect some of these boys to look uncomfortable. That it's too fast for me, or you know what I mean? And I didn't see that in the quarterback play with these young boys.
Let me ask you about Zach. How much can you credit that to the head coach and him giving him, helping him with that comfort level?
I don't know. It's a tough question. You'd have to ask a coaching type mind. What do you think? I mean, him being comfortable, I think, is him. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to have to learn some things. And they got to learn while someone's trying to take you out, okay? And it's a process. They're going to see stuff that they haven't seen before. And that's why it's unusual for young quarterbacks to come in that game and excel. And it'll always be tough because the speed of it is a little bit faster than where
and that margin of error is so much more smaller too.
Yeah, it is. The windows are smaller.
The close of a D-back is faster on the ball. And
woo!
So, you just need to learn some things and see some things. But, this everybody said this was a great year for the young quarterback coming in the draft.
And it really is.
And, you can see the talent is there. And now it's a question of, football is such a team game. If you don't have guys up front that can protect your ass, I don't care who you are.
Yeah, how good you are.
You're going down.
It's like Mahomes running in the Super Bowl last year for his life.
And
gotta protect them boys.
Guys got to get separation, but they got some really good young guys.
They do
that are going to be interesting to watch their development and watch them play.
So I'll throw this to you guys. Go ahead.
It's a big year for quarterbacks, period, though.
So we can forecast a little bit, and Terry, I'm going to bring you in to add this as well. What quarterback do you see having the best season? And Terry, you can bring that into your comments as the guys think about that. Terry, what were you thinking?
Best season. I would. I mean, it really depends on. I think Fields has the potential to. And I'm not saying that being biased, but I think I saw some glimpses.
Yeah, of course you're not being biased, Terry.
I saw, but I mean, Andy Dalton's not budging, which I think is good for that quarterback room, holding everybody accountable, and ain't nothing bad about a little competition. So I think Zach Wilson is up there as well. I don't think the team will make the playoffs, but I think they'll have games where they're competitive like they were.
You don't think Chicago will make the playoffs?
Oh, no, Jets.
Oh, New York. Oh, I'm sorry.
So I think he'll have a good season. But
what'd you say, Patrick? Them fighting words. You say what? You don't think?
Oh, no.
No, I just think that
I just wanted to know what he was saying.
I just think that like Trevor Lawrence, I feel like I could have saw a little more being the number 1 overall pick. I think there were times where I think it was blocking scheme issues where, you know, he looked a little rattled in the pocket. Guys were getting there sacking him, but I think that's something that he'll naturally grasp too because he's not going in. A lot of these quarterbacks, you could say that too, but he's going to a new system where Urban Meyer has new staff. You know, they're all kind of getting used to it. It was the first preseason game, but I think what I saw defensively, you know, and this is something that I love. So I love Micah Parsons out of the Cowboys and Patrick Surtain out of the Denver Broncos. I think those two guys, I think, have the potential to be, you know, defensive rookies of the year and maybe even rookie of the year. Because I think that Micah Parsons, watching Hard Knocks, one of my favorite shows, sports shows, period, that dude was everywhere. Like, there were times where the coaches would tell him, like, look, that's not your play. I know you love being around the ball, but that's not your play. You know, that dude is just so ball hungry. He's a ball hog, what we used to call him. Like, anywhere the ball was at, he had enough speed to go get it. I mean, he was running like almost a 4.3 at the 40, like a 4.4, a low 4.4 in the combine. So we like, you know, we didn't get to see him in college because he didn't play. He opted out. And so finally seeing him and everyone's talking about him, he's in there, he's going crazy. Patrick Surtain, a guy that they were getting on Jerry Jones about moving up to get him, but they got Micah Parsons, which is cool too. But Patrick Surtain reading quarterbacks like a book. I mean, just sitting there. You said what happened?
Pick 6.
Oh yeah, pick 6. Like, I mean, the dude is like in coverage, relaxed, just like waiting for the play to happen to him. Like, he's a guy that's like a lockdown corner in the making. So I think both of those guys have the potential of guys being drafted that were needed to make defensive impacts. I think that's something that they can do. But as far as Zach Wilson and putting it on the coach, I think Zach Wilson coming in, I think his poise was a big plus for him. That was one of the things that guys felt comfortable about him going into New York and being that situation. You know, pretty boy coming in there like, yeah, I'm in New York now. He got a massive contract being a rookie. They were working on that contract for a while since the draft. So I think him going in there, having that New York swag and embracing New York and all the animosity that comes into playing in New York, I think it was him, and also coaching too. It does have a play by calling plays that he felt comfortable with, and that comes with him being poised. So
yeah, very, very well put, Terry. I appreciate that. Guys, we're going to take another break, our last break of the evening, but we're going to come back and talk a little Day and KD, their Chips interview that went down. And we're also going to make Aaron happy, talk about these top 50 NBA players. So, again, I want to thank Horatio Williams and the Horatio Williams Foundation, as well as Gilead Sciences, as well as Dick's too. But Team Michigan is going to have a great thing going on. That's going to be about a month or so after a weekend down, SPS that is, down in Detroit at Harper Woods. They definitely go shout out my guy Aaron Mays when we get down there for the SPS showcase. Got some young ladies and some young men who are going to come out, and we're going to talk about mental toughness, media training, as well as work on some great plays and have some great coaches helping them going forward. And finally, we got the Basketball event that's going to be coming up on the 31st of October. It's going to be a scary good time, and that's brought to us by Team Michigan. So with no further ado, talk about this great news.
Breaking news, Team Michigan Basketball is presenting a series of basketball tournaments at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Get your teams registered today. The first tournament in the series is coming this Halloween weekend. Visit basketball.com or teammichiganbasketball.com for more information.
That's right, guys. We are back. Going to get things rolling with the show. I see Terry, he rubbing his hands together like, yeah, man, we about to get down. We're going to talk about this recent podcast. It was only 24 minutes, which is kind of unlike a lot of these pro athletes podcasts, man, because their podcasts be like 2 hours. I ain't mad at them, man. But Draymond Green and KD sat down. I have my opinion about this. And although they said that, a lot of this, that whole breakup was, pretty much the fault of management, I just wonder if there was an escape of accountability on both their parts, particularly Draymond's. And when you have your own platform, you can control the narrative. But I'll start with you, Patrick. If you got a chance to dive into this a little bit more, what was your take on the interview with Draymond and KD on chips?
I really didn't see the interview, but I don't know how to explain it. They have a weird relationship to me. You know what I mean? Because of so many, like, you always get, like, for example, Kevin Durant was asked, I'm not sure if it was on, I think it was All the Smoke. And he was asked on all that stuff that happened between him and Draymond. And he always seems to have such a different energy. You know what I mean? And then they win the gold, and it seems like they're the most buddy guys on the bus when they won. You get what I mean, Terry?
Winning solves everything, though.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Winning solves everything. If you had a beef or issue, when you win, it's ain't no telling what happened if you and Aaron win the championship together. I don't know what y'all will do with each other.
Right. Yeah. So I guess that would be my opinion towards it then.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine. And it's interesting when you see that. Terry, give me your thoughts on this whole, Draymond KD piece.
It's so roller coaster.
I thought there was some real moments, and I thought there was a bunch of baloney moments. Like, talking about I'm gonna go with the baloney moment first. Like, Kevin Durant talking about his burner accounts. Like, he was comparing that to, like, other athletes like McCollum and Dame Lillard and other guys that, like, speak how they really feel. Like, a burner account, like, dude, you were on there roasting fans. Like, that is not compared to, like, Damian Lillard saying how he feels about the team situation and being like, all right, bet if we're going to make the playoffs or not. Like, that, like, betting on yourself and, like, interacting with fans that way and, like, roasting them because they coming after you because of, like, because you're being a professional athlete, it comes with the job. Like, people are going to roast you, but you making another account, and for him to compare that to, like, oh, I'm just interacting with the fans, that's not true, man. Like, you're sensitive. Just embrace you being sensitive. Like, it's fine. Like, we already know that. Just come out and say it. But I thought there were moments where we saw the awkwardness, like when Draymond asked that question, like, dude, did that moment after the Clippers, did that make you leave? Everybody wanted to know that because we like, dude, Draymond made him leave. But I did think that there were some real points to where how the Warriors, I think their organization has some pros and some cons. I've been noticing that. So the Warriors, they're very hands-on with their players. They're very involved. They're like, hey, how are you feeling today? Like, you can love that. I mean, one, you're going with your players' best interest. You're involved with them. You see how they feel. If they have opinions, they have opinions. But, like, at a point in time when your players ask for space, you give them their space. And I think that's where I think the Warriors – I could see the Warriors messing that up right there because they got something going on. They got 2 rings. They got, they both moving. And that's true. they both moving, and – they didn't give them their space, and I think both of them were being a little sensitive there in that. But I just don't believe that Kevin Durant did not leave after that. The turmoil was hot at that moment. Like these guys are yelling. The Boogie got to pull people away from each other. Like you cannot say that moment did not cause you to think, man, would it work somewhere else? Like naturally, as a human being, you constantly think it's somewhere better than where I'm at now. Like that's natural. But that moment when it gets heated, dude, I bet you in your mind, you're like, man, where is somewhere else? Who would I fit in with? Like, I feel like that point, if he would have just came out and said that and been real with it, we all would have understood because, like, it's natural. So I think there were points where it was real. It was cool to see Kevin Durant kind of, where he's calm, steady, and getting to know him better. And it was cool to see him ask about his girlfriend if he wants a wife or not. I thought that was really
– I have children.
Yeah, and him wanting to have kids. That was very personal. I'm glad I heard that answer. I feel like he was very truthful with that answer. Like, I'm worrying about my game right now. If it comes, it comes. I think that he was really at peace with that. So it was cool to see a different side of KD on the show.
Yeah. I had to catch myself because what I did not want to do is find myself being overly critical. But I got a few issues with that. And I guess, so far both you guys have helped bring those out for me. One is, the disadvantage of that interview was that there was not an objective media member to conduct the interview. It was KD and his two buddies having a conversation, so there was no drill down to really challenge things. And then the second thing, Draymond, don't you still play for Golden State? The things he said in that interview, he was conducting that interview as if he wasn't at Golden State anymore. How you going to talk about and air out the laundry of not just you and your fellow teammate, but how you interacted with Bob Myers? He said hey, Patrick, he said when Bob Myers told him to apologize the night before because they were at the private jet hangar for like an hour and 45 minutes. Draymond's wife Hazel was waiting in the car, and Draymond said, "I'm not apologizing." He said, "We'll let you sleep on it." And then the next day they asked him again. He said he laughed in Bob Myers' face. And I met Bob Myers when they came to Michigan State, actually to retire Draymond's jersey. He seemed like a cool dude. I know that was just an impasse in meeting, but here's the thing. Why are you telling everybody that? And then he also told Bob Myers, because Bob Myers said, "I'm shocked at your response." He said, "Well, you want me to laugh or you want me to cuss you out?" So, not saying that he can't have that conversation, but dude, I know the Warriors got to be looking like, where's the real value in Draymond Green going?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're saying this now. I don't know if that gold medal got him real, real high. If that the LeBron Lobos they're drinking off of, John got him high. But it just really seemed a little premature and a little unpolished, only in the sense that, dude, like you don't have a safe landing place just yet. And you're saying all this, and you got to turn around and go face these guys, and keeping it real. But man, at the end of the day, these guys could be like, they could just be like, Draymond, we getting rid of you because you old. So it could be anything. John, yeah, it's just like,
Yeah, I don't understand I really don't understand his whole stilo, period, really, to be honest with you. Like, I understand, like, you play.
Here's the thing. What that interview reminded of, you're not KD. You're Draymond. You're Draymond, but you are not. And people have said time and time again, and John, I want to know what you think about this. Draymond's success was based on the team he was at. KD can go play
anywhere
for the Bullets, if you want to bring some old school stuff back and still possibly league MVP. And Draymond, you a plug and play. And then let me say this for whoever ears may hear. I got love for Draymond. I'll tell you a real quick Draymond story. Being in the Preseason Center years ago, this is when Magic Johnson, I went to Saginaw, and he was talking to a group of Saginaw students. And Draymond, and I guess until the relationship changed, look what Aaron said. Green is totally full of himself. We're in there talking. He was hating on Magic. Now, I think their relationship has changed since then. He was saying, why is it I can't reach you when I want to reach you? I think Draymond was still ascending. And I looked at him, I said, Draymond, Magic was just in Saginaw on stage talking about you, saying great things about you. Like, I don't care. He only come around during the tournament. He only come, and he would just go, and it was in a wide open space, and it was just like, to Aaron's point, Draymond has been able to have success, and you have to accept him at what he is. But I think that as you get older, there's an idea about strategy that has to come, because at the end of the day, man, and John, I'll defer to you on this. At the end of the day, these owners and GMs, they may not be able to post you up. They may not be able to hit that 3-ball, but they can send your ass somewhere with a raw deal.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end of the day. John, what's your take on the whole Draymond KD discussion and just kind of where we're at with things right now?
Well, Draymond hasn't changed since the first time I met him when he was in high school.
Was that fat? You met fat Draymond?
Yeah, I argued with guys I argued with an NBA scout one day that told me if they were playing in the park, they wouldn't pick him up. And
wow.
I said, you're wrong. But he says what he wants to say. Tom Brady on LeBron's barbershop show, Tom Brady told him, man, I wish I could be like you. Everything I say is calculated and well thought out. And I ask people to tell me the questions they're going to ask me before we even have an interview. And you just say what's on your mind. And Draymond has always been like that. And you could say, and you could look at it, and what you said, Lindsay, that he's full of himself. And I think that's the way I've always looked at him. He's a.
Well, I got to give credit to Aaron. That was Aaron's comment, and I repeat it. He said
Aaron,
Draymond is full of
well,
himself.
I agree with Aaron. He's a little full of himself. He always has been when he was.
But you got to be to make it to that level almost, though.
Yeah, you do. And
Yes,
look, I'm not mad at him, but he is the next Charles Barkley. He's
I don't disagree.
Stuff. He's going to be on some platform someday, and he's going to be the guy that says the craziest shit known to man, and people are going to react to it. And as long as people react to it, he's still got a seat at the table. And as far as Kevin Durant's concerned, he's an interesting guy. I'm just in the beginning of developing. I want to develop an understanding of who this guy is. So I reached out to somebody and I said, what does he do with his money? And I'm waiting for a breakdown of all his investments and everything else. And I want to see, because I've seen some things that I like about him. But
he has a very diversified portfolio from tech to art.
Yeah,
he does. Things.
And he's one of the big investors in this overtime that's starting this year in Atlanta for the juniors and seniors in high school.
Really? Because he even said to that point, he said he doesn't even know. He said he's learning so much, whether it's getting into coaching, management, ownership. He's very much a Renaissance man in the making.
Well, I found out yesterday that him and Jeff Bezos talk regular.
Whoa.
And that Jeff Bezos is one of the investors in overtime now.
Oh, that's big, because Jeff don't kick it with everybody from what I'm hearing.
Well, you're right. And that's what interests me. I read this article about overtime. And that's what piqued my interest when I found out the investors and who was on the board. And then it interests me about Kevin Durant, and I want to learn more. But not everybody is like Draymond. Not everybody is. If I need a bucket, and that 24-second clock or the end of the game or end of the quarter, I'm going to Kevin Durant. But that doesn't mean that he's real good at social media. Now he's going to have to grow. We're going to have to give him a chance to grow a little bit because he's in demand. So, I'm going to give him a pass. I'm looking into him. He really interests me when I was reading this breakdown of overtime, because what's happening with this overtime is that the class of 2022 and 2023, when you hear the top players and you hear, he's whittled it down to 3, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Duke. Well, guess who the fourth one is in all these conversations? Overtime.
Oh.
So now, and then it came to head, I guess, that Juwan Howard wants this big kid out of Florida, and he's not even worried about the other schools now. He's worried about overtime. And in respect with that, I don't know if you guys read about Hunter Dickerson or not. But
he's staying, right? He's staying.
Well, yeah, he's staying, but he said that the University of Michigan is dropping the ball on the NIL. They're not supporting their guys. They're telling them, the upper management at University of Michigan says, we don't want our guys involved in this. We don't want nobody making money.
See, that's Michigan, man. Michigan.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be big because these kids are all looking for this. And if you're not on board, you're not embracing it.
See, when I was in corporate America, when I was a lobbyist for corporate America for a Fortune 1 corporation, I would just say for Walmart, we tried to do advertisement. Michigan at the time did not allow anyone to advertise inside the big house because they said there would be so many conflicts because of their alumni base is so, influenced into corporate America. So I think a lot of that may be Not that they don't just want their kids to do it, but they got so many competing interests, they don't want to deal with anyone. But see, that's going to be a problem because when you can't get a kid that can get an NIL deal, that's something to say. So that's something to look at going forward.
But Kevin Durant is heavily involved in this overtime. He's got his money in this.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see. Like I say, I'm just at the beginning of doing a little research on him.
Yeah, we know how your research goes, John, when you start doing your research.
Yeah,
Guys, we're going to get into
he's got a great portfolio. He's got an investment company called 35 Ventures.
I read it.
Yep, media and all that. We'll keep an eye out. Well, guys, we're getting into our last segment. We want to shout out the NBA. This is a new 50. I think when we think about the NBA top 50, we think about years ago when those guys had those wonderful jackets on. But, of course, these guys who are being featured now, the LeBrons and the Kobe's, if you will, they weren't even at their prominence like they are now. So with this new segment that we're going to do, and I appreciate Aaron and everybody, contributing ideas for it. If I have it right, we're going to start with the top 50, but we're going to count them backwards. So we're going to go from 50 to 41, if I said that correctly. So you shook your head, Terry. Was that on or was that off?
Oh, I'm good, yeah.
Okay. I thought Terry gave me like, wait a minute.
No, I was looking at my list. I'm looking at my list.
Okay. Well, Patrick, we're going to get you to be the DH to get out here in front real quick. Who do you want to share being on that list for you, 50 to 41?
This is what you guys, somebody commented, why is this guy on his phone? I've been really looking at this the whole time. I got so many pages of notes and,
And I'm sorry, did I confuse Aaron? Aaron said he thought it was a top 20. I thought we were going to work him back from 10, Aaron.
Well, Aaron, obviously, he struggles with paying attention to it.
Ooh, he got him one. Aaron, he got off on you, baby. He got off on you.
Catch up, Mustard.
Aaron, I know you waiting to get. Hey, he got off on you with that one, Aaron, dog. Hey, I'm just saying, man. I love to be the hype man. So what you thinking, Patrick, while Aaron works on dropping a bomb on you? I know he's working on something.
All right.
And by the way, those were trolls, and I want to thank – look at Aaron. Aaron said, wow, Patrick. Look at Aaron's comment. He's like, hey, you see how he landed for you? That's mutual respect. But and to the point about the phone, I want to thank Orlando for being a great researcher, if you will, because the comments that you guys didn't see were some trollers from Canada, and what they like to do is infiltrate people's feed, get them riled up, and get them to react negatively, and they actually record it. So because we don't have that kind of setup, though they were making those comments that didn't come across unless I let them come across, it wasn't going to work. So they pretty much wanted me to get pissed off at them, and they were going to record me, and they do it. So that's the world we're living in now, man. I mean, gee whiz. People are just looking for anything. But I'll go back to you, Patrick. What you got for us?
Okay, so I'm going to start at 50. And I'm going to go, man, it's really hard, but I'm going to go John Stockton at 50.
Okay. Terry likes that.
I'm going to go Stockton at 50. Then I'm going to go Reggie Miller at 49.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Reggie, Stockton. Then I'm going to go Bill Walton at 48.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm going to go Iceman, 47.
I like that.
George Gervin. I'm going to go Human Highlight Reel at 46. 45, I'm going to go AD.
Adrian Daly? Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Anthony
At
Davis.
45.
I'm a Detroiter. When I hear that AD, that's what I went back to. Well, Aaron is calling me. He said, "Go back to tape, Lindsay. You said top 20. I got set up. My bad, man. My bad.
Well, if I could have a moment to explain it to Aaron, it wouldn't make sense to do 1 through 20, Aaron, because then the rest of the list is null and void once you name your top 10. You got
No, what we did is,
yeah.
in all fairness, I think we started with that, but then we modified it.
Yeah, we modified it. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was worth talking about.
Yeah, so in all fairness to you, Aaron, we started with that and modified it, but we'll still be able to incorporate what you have, man. I know it's tight that you got to fight for yourself virtually, you know, with Patrick over here dropping bombs. I know you go get yours.
Aaron keep telling you to check tape. You cannot throw the red flag if you don't have a timeout to give up.
Oh, man, he's saying you got.
We ain't checking no tape. This ain't a college game.
Hey, you got him feeling good, Aaron. You got him feeling good. So I got you at 45 with AD, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So 45. So I'm at 44, and I'm gonna go with Jerry West.
Ooh, the logo at 44. I mean, your top, 40 and up.
No, man. I'm missing 10 spots really. Like I can't think of 10 spots. It's hard for me to put certain people in certain places.
It is.
Yeah.
Off of opinion, you know what I mean? But I don't want it to be totally opinionated. Like some
that's okay. That's okay.
Gotta go in there too.
That's okay. All right, give me 3 more: 43, 42, and 41.
No, I'm at 44.
Yeah,
take off Jerry West. I want to put Russell Westbrook at 44.
All right, you can put Brody at 44.
Yeah, put Brody at 44. Then at 43, I'm gonna put Paul Pierce.
I'll
put Steve Nash at 43, then Paul Pierce at 42.
Steve Nash at
43, Paul Pierce at 42, Jerry West at 41, and I'm out.
Okay, I want to repeat these quickly for the people in the back.
Yeah, let's see if we can line it up. I don't think
you put Steve Nash at 42.
Yeah.
Okay, what I have is 50, John Stockton, 49, Reggie Miller, 48, Bill Walton, 47, George Gervin, 46, Dominique Wilkins, 45, Anthony Davis, 44, Russell Westbrook, 43, Paul Pierce, 42, Steve Nash, and 41, Jerry West. Jerry West did a big jump. He jumped from 44 to 41, but that's what we got right now.
I mean, he's better than all those guys. So
that's fine. That's fine. Terry, what you got to add for us?
For mine, I got Vince Carter at 50.
Okay, VC.
Forgot about Vince.
I got Dominique Wilkins at 49.
I love it. I love that you guys are simultaneously sharing this, but you guys created it all independently, and I love hearing these different names roll like that. Go ahead.
I have Paul Pierce at like 48.
Okay. You say Pierce ain't up there like that. Okay.
This is where it got tough for real. So I got honestly, I'll put Reggie Miller at 48.
Okay.
I got Gary Payton at 40.
Ooh, GP in the building.
47. I got Paul Pierce at 46.
No, you already had Paul Pierce. I thought you had him at 48.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. That's on me. KG at 46. Yep.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Where was Gary Payton at?
He was 47, I thought.
I thought that was Reggie Miller. Let me tell you what I have for you.
Okay.
I have Vince Carter at 50, Dominique Wilkins at 49, okay. Paul Pierce at 48, Reggie Miller at 47.
You're right. That's on me. Yeah, I got like 3 players. I'm like, it's like game time decision. This is game time decision. So I got
Did Reggie Miller have a better career than Paul Pierce?
I will argue, but I'll come back to it. But so I'm left at 46, right?
Who's at 46?
46. I got Chris Paul at 46.
CP, dang.
I got him at 46.
Okay. Ooh.
Let's see. I got Ray Allen at 45. I got Steve Nash at 44.
Okay.
I got Kevin McHale at 43.
Yes, sir. Pump fake king.
This is where it gets tough. So like 41 and 42, I was like, do they crack top 40? So I did have Jerry West at 42. I don't think he's top 30 to me.
Right.
All those losses.
Right.
I mean, I got him at 42.
All those losses in the finals, though he's been in the finals, he lived in the finals.
I mean, but who remembers? I mean, we only remember second place because of him. So all them L's. But and then 41, I got Jason Kidd.
Okay, all right.
That dude was a triple-double machine. I mean, Jason Kidd was one of them dudes I could just sit back and chill and watch his highlights. Like, dude was a point.
No, he gets it in.
Oh,
He
point guy,
that role. You know, John, when you hear these guys, are your lists similar? What are you thinking when you hear what these guys have shared?
Well, I mean, I remember the top 50 at the 50-year anniversary.
Yes, sir.
And I'm wondering if they're going to do a top 75 at the 75th anniversary.
That would be smooth.
I got Bill Walton, Ray Allen.
Hold on for one second. You got Walton, Ray Allen.
Reggie Miller. Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi.
Gary Payton.
GP.
James Harden.
Oh, okay.
Kevin McHale. Walt Frazier.
And Walt Frazier. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that all of them? Did I get 8?
Paul Pierce and then Bob Cousy.
Okay. It's interesting. Yours, you really stayed modern with the exception of a few. So I'm just curious, James Harden, you know, what is his scoring ability that really stood out to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's the guy nowadays. He's one of the top scorers in the game now, and you know, that's what moves the scoreboard, and that's what they count up at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, I get it. And Kawhi, what is it about Kawhi that stands out to you too for this placement? I'm just curious.
Well, I think he's I think he's an all-around player.
Oh God.
And he does a lot of different things. And you know, he just made some big shots and some big games, and you know, I'm not gonna get into all the stuff that surrounds him, whether he plays or not, but he's been a really good player, man. I mean, he's really good, and he does so many different things, and you know, throughout his career. So I think he deserves a spot in that.
So at a quick glance, guys, as we get ready to wrap up, and this has been great, and I want to hold on to this as a point of reference, especially for that. Kyra jumped in, but that could be Kyra's burner account with Orlando. Said, "Where's Rick Barry, Walt Frazier,
I got Walt Frazier higher.
Well, hang on.
George Gervin was in mine.
Yeah, he was in there. Don't forget the old school. That's right.
We're not done yet.
I got Walt a little higher.
Walt Frazier, that's right. Walt Frazier's going to be in my top 50. He's just not in the bottom 10.
If that's my Kyra jumping in, I appreciate you, love. Put it in. Well, here's my question, guys. Here's my question. Of the guys that were named, the current players, I had CP3. I had who else did I have current? I got AD, Anthony Davis, and there was one more current player and James Harden. Of these three, who has a greater chance? Okay, that was Orlando. Kyra was all about that track life. She wasn't cracking her head talking about that. Okay, CP3, AD, and James Harden. Of the three gentlemen, who has a greater chance of winning another championship or winning a championship?
CP3, James Harden, and who else?
And AD. Of those of the all these names, of these 150 entries, you know, some repeats. These were the only three current players that were mentioned. So I ask of these guys who had. Oh, I'm sorry, 4. Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty much that's a double situation because if we say AD or Russell Westbrook, you have to anticipate they're together. So which grouping has a chance? The Brooklyn Nets, the Los Angeles Lakers, or the Phoenix Suns has a greater chance of winning an NBA championship within the next season or two? Or nada. It'd be Greek freak all over again.
No way.
No, I mean, you may not like it.
Stop it. That was an anomaly.
You think so?
Everybody was hurt. This man was a half of an inch, a tenth of an inch from getting beat by Kevin Durant and a group of nobodies.
Don't matter. That's like calling Jerry West, saying Jerry West could have had.
I'm not putting an asterisk on his championship. I'm just telling you, like, don't think that the Bucks are going to the finals next year. Like, don't think that this is going to be a repeat kind of thing.
Got my guy D Cunningham. That's my guy right here. He said the Suns won't go back.
If players are healthy, if players are healthy, they don't make it out of the Eastern Conference Finals.
So let's say who's it going to be of these three? If we said who's going to be closest to an NBA championship, who's going to get the furthest along in the season?
Because he's the young
Lakers.
Yeah, you got to say the Lakers.
2 years.
Appreciate you, Cunningham. You got to say them Lakers. I agree with that.
Lakers, yeah.
Okay, well, let's put them in order as we wrap up. Of the three, if say Lakers going to get the furthest, does that mean they're playing in the East? They're playing in the championship against James Harden, or is it going to be the closest? Going to be that Western Conference final between the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Lakers? Which more likely, a Western Conference final set up with them, or is it both? Is that the nature of how it's going to happen? You're going to have CP3, AD, and Brody for the Western Conference Finals with the Lakers coming out, and they're going to play James Harden and Kevin Durant. Is that what it looks like? You guys think?
I mean, I'm feeling more like Lakers, Nets, Clippers, then Suns. I don't know. I just seen a lot of things that were exposed out of the Suns playing against the Bucks, you know. But I feel more comfortable what Ty Lue has done with the Clippers. I feel like I'm more comfortable with them than the Suns right now. I feel like the Suns have to kind of regroup. But I will honestly say that, you know, I do feel like the Nets have the best chance out of these teams right now. Yeah. But I mean, everybody keeps talking about if they're all healthy, but it's like when? When are we gonna see that? Are we gonna see that? So.
And my guy Cunningham says can't sleep on the Nets. The Heat either. Said with Kyle Lowry going down there with that winner's mentality. What does Rick Ross say? A winner's mind like I'm Pat Riley. Miami mind like I'm Pat Riley. Like, hey, those sleep on Riley.
Bam's getting better. Their bench is getting better. Like the Bucks, you know, like you got the Patty Mills going to the Nets. Like the Nets are really good. If they're healthy, they're healthy. But like also you got to remember, like Kawhi won't play this year. Probably he'll probably be out. So
even after signing that contract, you think he'll still be out?
Oh God, yeah. He's torn multiple. His meniscus is torn. Like he's out.
Yeah, we probably won't see
him.
He
Gotta have reconstructive surgery. Period. No matter what.
So they just trying to lock him in for the future. Make sure he don't go nowhere else.
Yeah, they're just locking him in because if they don't lock him in, he would have left. He would have left next year.
That'd be not good.
Extension. Yep.
Well, guys, with this, we've had a great show. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Aaron checking in. I appreciate Orlando holding us down behind the scenes. John and Patrick, you guys all know how much I appreciate you, and Terry as well. What you got for us, John, as we get out of here?
I just want to say rest in peace, Bill Freehand. Me growing up, a local guy from Detroit that played 15 years for the Tigers, 11-year All-Star as a catcher. Passed away today. Rest in peace. And thank you, Bally Sports Detroit, for picking up high school football for our second year. It's going to start the first week with a doubleheader, a second week with a doubleheader, and then the third week they're going to the Friday night game. I want to thank them for that. It's great exposure. It was great to see last year. I like the way they covered it. And congratulations on giving our kids a chance to show their wares.
That's right, giving it up. Well, again, we want to thank you. This is Lindsey Hudson with SPS with Terry McCoy Jr., John Patrick Rutherford, and Orlando Watkins holding us down. Thanks to our sponsors, too. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.